I'm gonna show to you, my fellow chessers, the chess game between Vidit and Yan Pominashi in FIDE Candidates 2024, round number 11, my fellow chessers. So let's begin on E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight F6, better of defense, Knight takes E5, classical variation, D6, Knight C4, Knight takes E4, Knight Queen E2, and then Queen E7, Knight C3, Knight takes C3, B takes C3. Ooh, this is better of defense, classical Paulsen attack, Paulsen attack, Paulsen attack. So let's continue on. Bishop G4, Queen takes E7, Bishop takes E7, Rook B1, and then B6, and then G4, and then Bishop E6, A4, castles kingside, Knight E3, Bishop G5, C4, Rook E8, H4, Bishop F6, C3, C5, Bishop D3, Knight C6, G5, good move, Knight E5, and then Bishop takes H7, King takes H7, and then D takes E6, F takes E6, King E2, Rook A G8, G4, G6, G5, Bishop G7, A5, B takes A5, Rook B7, controlling the 7th rank, my fellow chessers. So let's continue on Rook D7, Rook takes D7, Knight takes D7, and then Rook D1, my fellow chessers. So let's continue on. Bishop F8, and then Knight G4, Rook B8, and then Bishop F4, and then Rook B2, and then King F3, E5, and then Bishop E3, and then Knight B6, and then Knight F6 check, King H8, and then King E4, and then A4, Rook A1, Rook B3, mistake. The best continuation on this position is King to G7, my fellow chessers. So let's continue on. Rook B3, mistake. King D3, mistake. The best continuation on this position, my fellow chessers, is H5. Let's continue on. King D3, A3, Bishop C1, A5, blunder of Yan Pominashi. The best continuation on this position is Knight A4, who attacking this side. So let's continue on A5, blunder. Bishop takes A3, G5, mistake. The best continuation on this position is Bishop E7, my fellow chessers. So let's continue on. G5, King C2, D takes C4, and then Knight E4, Rook B5, Rook G1, Bishop E7, Rook E1, King G7, Knight D2, and then Bishop D6, then Knight E4, Bishop E7, and then Knight G3, then Knight G3, Rook B3, Bishop C1, Knight G5, and then Knight E4, King F7, then Bishop D2, A4, Rook A1, and then Knight B6, and then Bishop E3, and then Rook B5, and then Knight D2, and then Rook A5, King B2, King E6, and then King A3, and then Rook B5, and then Rook C1, then King F5, F3, and then Knight G5, attacking the Bishop on E3. King takes A4. Oh, counter attack, my fellow chessers. King takes A4, and then Rook B8, then Knight takes C4, and then E4, F takes E4, and then King takes E4, and then Bishop F2, King D3, then King G3, Bishop G3. The idea of Bishop G3 is attacking the Rook on B8. So Knight takes C3 check, and then King A3, Rook B4. Ooh, Rook B4. Knight B2, mistake. of Vidit. The best continuation on this position is knight e5, my fellow chessers. So let's continue on. Knight b2, mistake. And then king d2, rook f1, c4, rook f2, knight e2, knight e2, bishop e5, and then c3, rook f7, rook b7, check. What? Check. This is check, my fellow chessers. So let's continue on. King a4, c2, and then knight c4 check, king d3, and then knight b2 check, king e4, and then Vidit resigned the game. Vidit resigned the game. Why? Why? If you continue on rook f1, what if it here? King I see what is preparing for c1, and if you take this, so and stop this, we have king takes e5. As you can see, Vidit on king on takes e5, bishop on e5.